Okay, so we're at our first review assignment for this course. And the video you're watching is here, and it's going to go over how you work through this assignment, okay? So here's what this assignment is. This assignment is actually from a product that I've helped build called AI Canvas.chat, and it basically takes the idea of a Canvas assignment, right? So you've been doing assignments in this course already, right? So from a course perspective, like your submitting setup, your code alongs, these are all where you submit something. Your discussion boards here, you can see the difference in the icons. So this is an assignment, but it works differently. So normally when you do these assignments, you hit start assignment. And in this case, you don't. You scroll down to here, and we're going to click here in a moment. So first, just understand, don't ever, when you're doing the reviews, start assignment, you're always going to go here. Now, what is this going to be? This is going to be for content and JavaScript covered so far in this course. Okay, so what you're going to do, what is this in this interactive way? So underneath, what happens is you're going to be interacting with OpenAI's API, and I've set up content for all the content and JavaScript covered, and you will be asked questions. And by the way, also from the syllabus, so you could review that as well, review your notes, look at the code you've written, right? And you can do this multiple times. As a matter of fact, I recommend doing this multiple times. And when you work through and what I'm about to show you, then what will happen is that session will be, and you have to get all the way to the end and submit it. It will be submitted as a file into Canvas that you and I will review, and that's the way I will grade it. Okay, so answer 15 questions correctly doesn't mean only 15. If you got some wrong, then you just keep answering until you get to 15, and it will actually keep it will keep track for you. And then you ask 5 questions, and you again ask anything from the content of the JavaScript covered so far, or from the syllabus if you want to know about that. Okay, so let's begin. So you're going to click here to start, and then once the window opens, right, then you'll click another button inside of there, and this is just what that content was trying to help you with. So I'm going to go ahead and go here. So what you will do here is you will enter your ID. Okay, your student ID, and if your student ID starts with a 0, then use that 0 when you're logging in here. Okay, so make sure you're doing that. Now I'm just going to do mine, and I have a test account. So, but after I log in, and this only comes up because of this being an instructor, but you have to click that you understand and make sure this is you, right? So make sure this step is right, because this is how it gets submitted. And by the way, if you want to know, this was built with React and Next.js with calling OpenAI in the background. None of your personal information is sent to OpenAI. It's all sent at a lower level. But we do save this chat, and that's what I want you to know, and that's how I grade it. And again, you can do this multiple times. Now, when you get in here, now just take a moment, or hopefully you're watching this before you attempt it, okay? So you notice how this is highlighted, right? You can't click on the ask 5 questions, because the idea is that you work through the 15 questions, answer 15 questions correctly, okay? And then ask 5 questions, and in this case, the way we've programmed it, so to speak, and programming is not the correct term here, but the way we've set it up is that if you try to ask questions before you've done the 15, it'll actually tell you, hopefully. But here's the other thing. I actually just played around with it and working through it again, and if it asks you something you feel like we have not covered, you can say that. And if you want clarification on something, if you want to ask, I did that on some of these assignments, and I'm all the way to the end, but I just want you to know that it's really okay for you to get clarification on one of its questions. Now, that doesn't count as your question, but once you do, so I just want you to know I did that. One of the questions, I was like, that's not covered. And they were like, oh yeah. And AI is not perfect, okay? And it's not consistent. Your experience is going to vary. And this will be actually a point of discussion when we get to week 3 attendance. So let's go ahead and just get started, okay? So I'm going to click answer 15 questions. Okay, so now it's going to ask you your first one. All right, but here's it's setting. And by the way, you actually get more points for answering quickly, but don't let that be a hindrance because the idea is for you to see how well you're translating the concepts here. And so this is a good question, like what will output here? So then you would just keep answering these questions, right? And if I tried to ask a question now, and it says, let's stick to the rules. First, you must answer 15 questions. Now, at this point, and it repeats the question because it doesn't want you to move on, but notice how these, now the submit assignment's shown up, but if you submitted right now, for me, when I grade it, you wouldn't get any points for this because you didn't complete the assignment, right? So you go through, and again, this is really where I'm trying to take what we've covered and see how well you're translating it. And by the way, you cannot copy and paste here, right? You actually have to write the code, answer the questions. You can't, we've actually done this at a coding level because I knew this is a natural thing students might, well, I would want to do sometimes. Now, later on, we'll talk about when we open these things up. But you get, okay, so again, it'll keep track, right? And I could say I don't know, right? And it would say, okay, no problem, and it'll go to the next question, right? But again, you gotten 0 out of 15 so far. Let's keep going, okay? So now, when you get to the 5 questions that you ask, right? So you answer 15, you ask 5. Now, you could ask from any of the content or the syllabus as well, right? And actually, it will throw, it did when I've done it a couple times because I've walked through this a couple of times. It did actually throw me some questions from the syllabus as well, okay? Okay, so then once I get here, right, this is when, and again, don't do this until you're ready. You know, when you submit the assignment, then you, and let's see if it does it. I actually have had this. Oh, good. It does, is actually, I had this open for a while because I was actually recording week 1 attendance. Now, once it does that, you can no longer submit, you can no longer interact, you can't click anything, you just need to close the tab. Oh, and by the way, in that case, I don't recommend doing this on mobile. I should have said this in my other class, but I don't recommend doing it on mobile because I played with this the other night, and when I did that, what happened was on the mobile device, it refreshed, and that's the thing is you need to complete this in one setting, right? So just, you know, get a little time set aside. It doesn't save as you go, so just know that you do need to complete in one setting, and if it does refresh, you'll just get to do it again. So that's why you want to get all the way to the end to submit. All right, I hope you enjoy this. Actually, I hope this is enjoyable for you. Well, I look forward to your feedback.